Jesus died for the sins of humanity, goes down into Hades, where he's preaching the good news to the spirits in prison in Hades. And you can see there that Jesus is actually taken down into the bosom, down into the belly of chaos, prophetically lived out through Jonah the prophet. I've been doing a little study, and you can check out Michael Heiser's podcast, the Naked Bible podcast, and go and listen to. It'll hurt unless you're really smart, but it hurt my brain. I had a little nosebleed. But he talks about Jonah and the dragon of chaos, and he gets into the original. And now Michael Heiser, he's legit. He's a true scholar. He helped give birth to the Logos Bible Project. He says, when they interpreted Jonah and the whale, there's no word there to say that was a whale. There is a Hebrew word for fish, but actually, if you translate that, it's actually translated as a sea monster or as a leviathan. When you look at that. Like I said, total rabbit trail. We probably won't do this in 11 o'clock, but this is what always makes the 9 o'clock a little more interesting. All right, so I don't know if I've thought about this before. Okay, so Jonah's out at sea, right, out in the ocean, and now we're going down it. And it says that a storm came. So what? A storm comes. Why did they draw straws and throw Jonah in? You ever think about it? Like a storm? Like if every time a storm came, they throw a guy in the water, that'd be weird, right? It's such a weird story. Well, because we read that in the English that a tempest or a storm came upon the sea. Michael points out in the Hebrew it said that there was a tempest in the sea. So we read that as a storm came down upon the waters. The translation is that there was actually a storm in the waters. And Jonah is offered as bait to the sea dragon. This ties into Job. And this ties into this incredible revelation that Jesus was offered as bait to the dragon of sin, sickness, death, poverty, and injustice. And the dragon of chaos came and swallowed him up for 3 days. And Jesus said, for this reason, I was born. And like the dragon, vomited. Again, okay, remember in Sunday school you'd hear about Jonah and the whale? You're like, and the whale vomited Jonah up on the shore? It's just a wild story, right? It's a prophetic drama, you guys. This is a prophetic drama of Hades that would vomit Jesus up and out of the grave. The death would not be able to hang on to Jesus as he walks out of the tomb after the third day with the keys of sin, sickness, death, and justice. He goes into the tomb as a defeated, murdered, looks like a crime, and he walks out of the tomb not as a victim. He walks out of the tomb as a victorious king, as your victorious king. It's okay. If you wanted to, you could look at the person next to you and say, "Jeez!" Because that's great. Sunday school, they try to make this thing so super tame, but this thing is so legit. When you start reading Jonah and you see that that's not about Jonah, that's all about Jesus. When you start reading the story of Joshua and Jericho, like we did just like a couple weeks ago, that's not about Joshua, that's about Jesus. When you read Job, and it's so funny what religious people do with Job, isn't it? Like, oh, Job, like, his life sucks, so that's okay if your life sucks. Like, no. Like, no, Job is not about your crappy life. Like, no, the story of Job is it's a prophetic drama pointing to Jesus, the true and perfect innocent sufferer who would find victory on behalf of all of humanity. And like I said, it's a rabbit hole, so let's come back out of it. Pop your head out. All right, a little go for you.